All right, welcome to the 2020 Asphalt Road-eo. We are glad to have everybody here today. So I want to introduce our Executive Vice President, Mr. Harold Mullen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Asphalt Rodeo hosted by Asphalt. Man, this is one of our favorite days of the year. We are so glad to be able to do this. You know, we get to have competition with asphalt. We get to work with asphalt. We got some great college students. We got some great engineering students here working with asphalt and teaching us a few things too along the way, but we get to know other students. We get to know other people that we haven't had the opportunity to before, and we bring new partners into Asphalt. So we are all excited about that. You know, this is our 4th year for the Asphalt Rodeo. I just want to give you some past winners. We had the University of Texas to win our first event ever. I think they even lit the tower because they were world champions of the Asphalt Rodeo. The next year, we had the University of Texas El Paso. We had the minor girls win. They did a great job in the competition. And last year, man, we had some folks from the outside, from Cajun country. Louisiana Tech came in here and won the World Championship Asphalt Rodeo. And my goodness, we didn't know what was going to happen this year with COVID, with everything going on, but we did have a 2020 Asphalt Rodeo. That's what we want to celebrate. And I want to thank the college students because y'all wanted to do this. Y'all wanted to be a part of this. And we were just so delighted to still be a part of this. And the guy who really came up with this and his students who has nurtured this throughout the years is Dr. Abizeye with the University of Texas. And I just want to tell you how much we appreciate you bringing this to Asphalt. We have just enjoyed it immensely. Why don't you give us a little background and tell us about the Asphalt Rodeo?
Thank you very much, Harold. And everybody, welcome to the 4th annual rodeo. I'll try to keep this short so we can get on to the competition. The best part of this competition, about 5 years ago, in a lunch meeting with Harold and Robert Lee, that's how this whole thing came about. We were trying to find a way to educate and expose undergraduate students to the asphalt industry, but do it in a way that was fun and engaging. And that lunch conversation is now, you know, that's what has brought us to the Asphalt Rodeo, and here we are. So I just want to say 3 quick things here. I'll start off by saying a big thank you to Asphalt, their members, Harold Mullen, Chuck Fuller, Robert Lee, who's been working with Asphalt as a judge, Jim, who's done amazing work at all these logistics, has been throughout this course of organizing this Asphalt Rodeo this year, and Emily, who's also helped with a lot with logistics and designing the logo and things of that nature. So this, and of course, they're also supporting this. So a big thank you to Asphalt and their members. And TechStart, a big thank you to TechStart leadership. Michael Lee, thank you so much for supporting this and promoting it. Robert Trevino, who really helped piece the detective case together. So it was an interesting exercise. We spent a lot of time with him finding just the right kind of case to use for this year's competition. And Inad Mahmood was also one of the judges in this competition. So big thank you to Asphalt and TechStart for making this idea happen year after year. And this is our 4th year. We're very happy to be here. Also, one of my students, Christian Stabino, who's been helping with some of the logistical issues. Second, a big congratulations to all the team members. This year was not easy for anybody, but y'all took the time to participate and deliver. And regardless of the outcome, what you've done here demonstrates your will, your character to rise above the circumstances and do something out of the ordinary. And I think that will stay with you throughout your career, and that will make you do great things in the future. So a big congratulations to you for, you know, despite the circumstances of things that are going around us, that you've said, hey, we're going to participate in this and we're going to do this, and you've done it. So big thank you and big congratulations to you. Last but not least, one of the things I want to go back to, you know, why we created the Asphalt Rodeo. We wanted this to be fun. We wanted this to be engaging. We wanted students to understand how difficult and challenging a topic asphalt pavements or asphalt as a material is and asphalt pavements are. and how important this industry is to the nation's infrastructure, to the nation's economy. It's a very critical part of our economy. It's a very big piece of our economy. And I hope you have taken away that this is a career path for you to choose from. This is a challenging career path. It's a very important path. But one side note that I hope you also take away from all this exercise is that asphalt pavements and asphalt industry is not just a career path. It's not just an opportunity. It's not just a job. It's really, really a community of people. In the last nearly 2 decades of working in this industry, I've come to know so many people, and we cross paths in so many different places and forums. We feel like a family. So I hope some of you choose this as a career and become a part of this family, which is so important for our nation's infrastructure and our nation's economy. So congratulations to all of you. And I'm going to step back and let Jim now start the 2-minute pitch and take the contest to get the contest started, really, or the final phase of this contest started.
Alrighty, yeah! Let's get this party started. All right, first up today, Louisiana Tech. Guy Bretches, I think you are going to be on board, so go ahead and share your screen, and we are ready to get started. Let me know when you're ready. Well, you got 2 minutes, brother.
I believe I'm ready.
All right, get her going, bud. You're up.
All right. My name is Guy Bretches. I represent LA Tech Team 2. Let's keep this short. We believe the cracking is due to a reflection crack propagating up from below, and we believe it's due to construction rather than design. The reason we believe this is primarily due to the evidence presented in these graphs down below. You can see on the left graph that there are weaknesses in the PSI strength stiffness for the base and the subgrade. And on the right, we really hone in on the subgrade. So we see weaknesses at 3 specific spots, right there at the 0, as well as you can see at about 1.3 and 1.75. This is right at the stations where we saw cracking occur. And so we know for a fact that there is weakness in the stiffness of the subgrade, and the subgrade should be stiff. It is soil cut with strengtheners. So we believe that because that subgrade is supposed to be stiff and that there is a lack of stiffness there, that is indication of a crack which propagated upward at these locations, which are where we found cracking. So short and sweet, that's it.
All right, very good, very good, very good. Okay, Chuck Fuller, I think you've got a question. Whoops. That's not going to work.
There you go.
All right, Guy, you guys did a great job on utilizing all the information that was given to you, and then also the graphs on temperatures and on rainfall. You know, you went out to outside resources and pulled those graphs together, and I think that, you know, you're looking at outside resources to support your conclusion. I take my hat off. You know, that going out to outside resources and utilizing those graphs, you did a great job. You and your team did a great job with that. My question for you or your team is, what information, if any, do you think you should have had added, changed, or subtracted to support your findings?
I don't know if necessarily I would say added, but perhaps changed. One of our, as a team, and this may have just been us, one of our biggest stumbling blocks was in the actual wording of particularly, I believe it was the second or third slide of the presented information. It was the description for the actual construction process, discussing the change order, discussing the actual, you know, what went where. Honestly, it may have been more useful just to have more actual diagrams or more description. And once again, that may have just been a particular problem with the thinking of our team. We very much liked to see the graphs, see the data directly, and this sort of description, you know, it kind of stumbled us up a bit in our mental image, such that, I mean, we had multiple meetings, and there were a few meetings where we all still weren't quite on the same page of our mental image of what the roadway actually was, and when something was built, and what those certain things were made of.
Well, I really appreciate all the work you guys have done on it. You did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, very good, very good. Let's move on to UTEP number 1 with Elena. I think you're going to make the presentation. Go ahead and get your stuff up there. Judges, if you would go ahead and submit your scores to Emily, and we'll be about ready to go ahead. So UTEP number 1, go ahead and share your screen if you've got a product to share, and let me know when you're ready to go.
Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Okay, and I am ready to go. Okay,
And go.
greetings, family and friends, fellow competitors, and judging panel. My name is Elena Mascorro. I'm a member of Team Yas from the University of Texas at El Paso. It is truly an honor to be here solving TexAPA's 2020 Rodeo mystery. To solve this mystery with limited but very important information, my team and I dove into the most obvious piece of the puzzle, which were the results from the falling weight deflectometer provided to us, which are shown in the next slides, as you can see here. Okay, so as my previous comrade also showed these points show like the different stiffnesses of the base and as well as the subgrade. And the low points match the stations of the distress locations, which was it's not a coincidence. So in order to provide more information on what's going on, we did further research by looking for information on the USDA web soil survey. So with this, we analyzed the soil that was happening, and what did we find? We found clay underneath the main sections of the soil. So we have embank fine sandy loam, and then in the bottom we have clay, embank fine sandy loam for the second part, and then in the bottom we also have clay. And then we have Lufkin radar complex, and these three form part of the road and also has clay. So in the end, to give a name to the problem is soft spots. So what we think is that the existing base and the subgrade were not identified. The soft spots in these locations were not properly identified before construction. And in order to identify what's happening right now, these can be found through cracking, which is our problem, rutting, ponding area, and soft spots are also prone to movement and can create friction between CTB, which is what we have, and in the pavement stops later. So our biggest problem are soft spots not being identified properly. And that is what we came up with. And we want to thank everyone and all of our sources, TechStud, and the university for providing us with this opportunity to be here.
All right, very good, very good. Right at 2 minutes, right at 2 minutes. I think we've got Robert Trevino's going to ask the question for your team. Robert, when you're ready.
My question for you, you identify some unsuitable soils based on the soil maps, and that's good information to have, good resource to have. What type of soil, in your opinion, would have been a better type of soil for roadway construction?
That is an excellent question. From what I researched, my team researched, we believe that definitely not clay. That's like a no-no. That's what we have here in El Paso where we live. So that was the biggest no-no. I think to give you a proper answer, we would have to do a little bit more research, but we think that maybe gravel would be a good soil, something where there's not a lot of movement, something that doesn't expand and collapse like clay. So that is the answer that I can give right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you, UTEP number 1. Okay, OU number 1. Thando, I think you're going to give the presentation. If you can go ahead and get your screen ready, we'll be ready to go. Judges, if you would go ahead and submit your scores, we'll be ready to rock. So Thando, you're up.
Okay. The team concluded that the longitudinal cracks were a result of bottom-up cracking reflected through from the sub-base layer and the base layer to the surface. When analyzing the flex base layers used in the construction of the pavement, the team found out that the flex base grade 1 to 2 used was not suitable for use because it did not meet the tech stock specification for flexible base materials. The wet ball mill test value for the flex base was 44%, while the tech stock maximum requirement is 40%. This means that the flexible base material's resistance to water damage was compromised, affecting the strength of the overall structure. When analyzing the strength test data obtained from the flexible base, grade 1 to 2, the team found out that the flex base did not satisfy the tech stock strength requirement for 0 psi lateral pressure. The test data for the flex base returned a value of 31 psi, while the requirement is 35 psi. The lack of lateral support or confinement may have caused the base to become unstable as vertical loading was applied during the 1 year the construction was completed. With an unstable base, the team concluded that the pavement would fail under traffic loading that was well below the design limits of 1.2 million ESOLs with 14.6% trucks. The team was also provided the following weight deflectometer results for layer stiffnesses in the base, which was comprised of a 7-inch rework subbase and a 4-inch flex base layer. The test showed a large overall base layer stiffness range of 10.8 to 405.1 psi. Now, this may have been caused by the lack of base and subbase support in the pavement as mentioned above. As a result, the team concluded that the longitudinal crack on the wheel path was a result of bottom-up cracking caused by a combination of a failed wet ball mill test and the lack of base and subbase support shown in the failed 0 psi lateral pressure requirement by tech stock standard and the large base layer stiffness. In coming up with this result, the team did also consider the type of soil in the region, which is a clay loam soil. And the team did come to the conclusion that although the clay loam soil is subject to swelling and shrinkage, and the high amounts of rainfall in the region might lead to issues in drainage, the issues of settlement occur over time, over a longer period of time, and the 1 year which was provided did not provide enough time for these issues to occur in the subgrade. As a result, the team came to the conclusion that
time out. Hurry up. All right, very good, very good, very good. Michael Lee, I think you might have a question. Thando, if you could go ahead and drop your screen out. Michael Lee, let you give a question.
Okay. Thank you, Thando. Really good job that your team did. I'm looking back at my notes in y'all's original presentation, how y'all broke it down. Y'all did an excellent job. One question that just remains with me is, as you know, this project was led with a totally different pavement design than what was actually constructed. The pavement design was altered by a change order. And so I continue to ask, what are your thoughts about that change order and the impacts it had to the final quality of the project?
By using the 7 inches of rework and 4 inches of flex base, this might have created a like vertical interface widening. But then looking at where the joint occurred, if there was any vertical interface widening, the crack should have occurred closer to the joint, but this was not an issue as the crack occurred in the wheel path. So by issuing out the change order, this may have affected the stability of the subgrade, as it was shown in the cross-section view that there was about 4.5 feet expansion in the subgrade.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Very good, very good. Okay, so we've had Louisiana Tech up. That was you, and also UTEP #1, and that was our Oklahoma University first team. So the next team up is going to be the Oklahoma University second team, and I think Precious is going to give the presentation for that. So if you can go ahead, and if you've got a screen to share, go ahead, and we are ready, and you can go ahead and start when you're ready.
Good morning. This is the OU Asphalt team presenting our research findings. And here we have some of the causes of failure that we dismissed throughout our research. The first being weather related, that causes shrinkage of the asphalt layer, and we dismissed this because we said the asphalt layer was laid in season and at recommended temperatures. We also concluded that fatigue could not have been the cause of the main problem, since the new road was not in use long enough. So we didn't have enough cyclic loading. And it could also not have been hydrophilic aggregate failure, which is caused by evotherm that was used in our design, which usually causes raveling and pothole issues. That was not the case. We could not look at the aggregate composition and density properties further because some of the contractor data was identical. And we could also not conclude on asphalt being the cause of the problem because the asphalt stiffness and the ratio of the recycled material to the total binder fell in range. And some of the compaction requirements in our failure points also met the 2-inch minimum, which meant it had to be a bigger problem. On one hand, our subgrade stiffness also fell within range. And dismissing all these causes left us looking at bottom-up cracking, which meant that it had to be a structural issue. And when we looked at our base stiffness, it was in the failure points, it was low from the FWD results, below the recommended 80 KSI. And we also thought that that would be because of the reused pavement, the base that contributed to the low base stiffness. And our theory was that underlying failures in the sub-base, which was not reworked along the wheel path, propagated upwards in the wick base to the top, which was also accelerated by the road in use. And when we looked at the road, previous image of the road, it showed the cracking and the failure in question, which further backed up our conclusion. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Excellent, excellent. Hey, judges, if you haven't put in on your previous team, go ahead and get those scores in. I think we've got Chuck Fuller back to ask a question for this team. So, Chuck, when you are ready, come on back in.
Okay, great job in doing the research and obtaining information that was not given to you guys. I mean, you went to the extra step on the research, identifying that cement treated base, could create the cracks, but you guys did another delve going into the fact that it usually creates transverse cracks. I mean, you really delved into that information. I really appreciate the fact that you guys really took the time to go through the process and elimination and did a great job with that. My question to you is, do you think the contractor or TxDOT could have done anything during construction to prevent this failure, whether it's testing or construction practice?
We mentioned earlier, for us, some of the contractor data was similar, which kind of gave us the illusion that there was a little bit of negligence maybe on that part. And we feel like that might probably have translated to their testing as well. We're not sure if it was just a copy and paste issue or the fact that proper testing just wasn't done by the contractors. So that would have helped a lot if the results were varied, for example, or accurate. It would have helped us look at the data and also further add on to whether or not it was a source of a problem or not. So yeah.
Great job, Precious. I really appreciate it. Did a great job with that.
All right, very good, very good. We are 4 through. We got 3 to go on our 2020 TxAPA Rodeo. So here we go. Louisiana Tech, you are up next with PJ Haston. Go ahead and get your screen ready to go. And as soon as you are ready, go ahead and start. We'll start the clock. So PJ Haston with Louisiana Tech number 1. When you are ready, go ahead and start.
Okay. Can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. My name is PJ Haston. I'm the spokesperson for Louisiana Tech Team 1. Today we're going to do our final pitch for the Asphalt Rodeo. So we looked at a few things to see what could be our cause of failure, but ultimately we decided on there was most likely one culprit. Probably it was the unfavorable soil conditions coupled with a few other factors that could have contributed to the failure. So we started off by looking at the USDA Web Soil Survey site. It gives you the soil profile and it gives you the AASHTO classification of the soils. For most of the sites that we looked at our stations, the soils were made up of A6 and A7 soil. These are really poor soils to build on. If you're going to build on them, you need to prepare them right and you need to have a design that's going to make up for the soil's weakness. Some of the things that we think contributed along with the soil were the asphalt layer of the SuperPave was not thick enough. The construction was not done yet. There was 4 inches of SuperPave that was supposed to be added, and there was only 2 inches at the time of the failure. We think that that could have contributed to the strength of the pavement overall. Also, up to TxDOT standards by item 247, there was some of the things in the mix design that were off, like the flex base gradation was not entirely, it was off by a little bit. Also, during the TxDOT and the contractor testing, the mix showed some less than ideal conditions. Some of the tolerances were exceeded. Some of them were just a little bit off. We also think that the cold temperatures could have had an effect, but we couldn't really make an assumption off of that because we don't know when the asphalt was laid. But if the temperature was below 50 or 40, which we assumed that the asphalt was laid during November, which the temperatures could have very well been below 50 or 40. This could have had an effect on the asphalt. And also our soil decision is backed up.
Finish up real quick.
Oh, sorry. The falling weight deflectometer showed the stiffness of the subgrade and the base is low, which backs up our conclusion. So that was our ultimate decision.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. I think we've got Robert Trevino is going to ask the question on this one. So Robert, when you're ready, go ahead and ask the question, and make sure, judges, when you get done, make sure to send in your scores. So Robert.
Thank you, BJ. So the main conclusion for your forensic investigation was mainly the soils. My question is, how much did the change order contribute to the problem? Or what was your thought process while reviewing that change order?
Our team did look at the change order. We really didn't see anything that would have, affected it negatively a lot. Honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you, we would need to do more research to have a more concrete answer for you on the change order.
Thank you, BJ.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. Hey, Harold, what do you think so far?
Pretty good, Jim. It looks exciting, some great information being shared, and you can certainly tell that these engineering students have done their homework. They've done a great job. They've been working on this for, over a month now, so they have really got a lot of good information being shared. I'm enjoying hearing them. Good deal, good deal.
All right, we've got 2 schools left. We've got UTEP number 2, and I think we've got Weston. I believe, if I got that wrong, you guys go ahead and just jump up in there. So go ahead and share your screen, and go ahead and get ready to go, and just go ahead and start when you're ready.
Good morning. My name is Weston Chenausky. On behalf of UTEP's team, Alpha Asphalt, I will be presenting the most logical causes of the longitudinal cracking on Roadway FM 148. So to start off, we evaluated several things when it comes to the road, starting from the environment surrounding it to the components within it. The stiffness to the subgrade, everyone has the same chart. From what I noticed, I think that we're not taking in consideration the elevation change. As you can see on the graph, we have several dips in elevation where we feel that water can accumulate there, causing the subgrade to fail. And that's part of the reason that the cracks can appear. Another thing that we have is the inconsistency within the flex base and the thickness. One of the field changes we feel is very logical for the cracks is the modification made where we used 7 inches of existing material and 4 inches of new base. We feel that due to the inconsistency within the base, it lowers the strength within the asphalt. We also show here the locations where we found that the thickness of the asphalt was very low in one particular location, where it is 1.5 inches on the GPR. We feel that can also contribute to the strength of the asphalt, causing it to fail due to the load applied. And to conclude, our findings were that the most logical causes of the longitudinal cracking is moisture accumulation, inconsistent thickness, and finally deflection on the base layer due to the stiffness. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. Michael Lee, I think you've got the question this time around. So Michael, when you are ready.
I do. Thank you, Weston. Great job. You know, one of the things, pretty much every team found a little bit different information. Y'all were the only team that investigated the elevation changes, and but it really doesn't change my question. You touched on the change order a little bit, but I want to ask maybe a little bit differently. So, what impact do you think that the change order had on the original pavement design, what was originally planned versus what was actually constructed? How did that impact the overall success or failure of this particular project?
That's a good question. So we feel that the change order, one of the main things that we think could affect this problem is the inconsistency. Using old asphalt and mixing it with new flex base, we feel that being that they're not the same asphalt can lower the strength within it. And we saw that in the chart where you could see that the base layer is very low in certain areas, and we feel that's the cause of it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, very good, very good. Judges, go ahead and get your scores in while we switch gears again. So that was UTEP number 2. We appreciate it. Our last team today is a team from not too far down the road, Texas A&M University, and we are ready when you guys are. And so go ahead and share your screen and start when you'd like to. Welcome aboard.
Good morning, everyone. We are the Texas A&M University team. Over the course of the semester, we did a case study of FM 148 located in Kaufman County, Texas. And these are just a little bit of the findings that we came to a conclusion to. So the main failure that we were presented was longitudinal cracking forming along the inner wheel path along FM 148. During construction, travel was allowed on the roadway after the first 2-inch pavement lift was placed. According to the Texas Pavement Manual, given the traffic count that we were presented, HMA less than 3 inches tends to transmit the higher stresses from the roadway into the base material. When we investigated the base material, we noticed that during the triaxial testing, it failed at 0 and 15 psi lateral pressure. Given the way the roadway was constructed at the elevation that it's at, there's no lateral confinement. All we have on the sides of the roadway are ditches, so that's not very good for stabilizing that base material. In addition, the change order called for reusing 7 inches of existing base and mixing it with 4 inches of new base. Mixing this material without the proper treatment can lead to weakened strength properties and lead to movement underneath the asphalt layer, leading to more cracking. So with this is what we came to as our conclusion for the failure of the roadway. And we just want to say thank you to all the judges and Tex APA coordinators for all the work they've done. And we want to thank our mentor and our fellow team members for working together this last semester to find out what was wrong with this roadway.
Thank you very much. Chuck Fuller, you got the final question.
Good job in the presentation. When you first presented, I was not there personally, but I watched the video several times, and each one of your teammates had a job to do. They had a part to present, had a part to research, and you guys did a good job as a team. As a team, you guys really did come together in terms of pulling the information. So I want to take my hat off as a team. My question to you is, you identified the base and the subgrade as the cause. Is there anything that you can think of that we could have done, during construction, either through testing or construction practices, to be able to eliminate this or prevent this problem from occurring?
Well, one of the assumptions that we made when doing our investigation was that the lab testing that we were presented was only considering the new material. So the samples were only constructed using what was new for that new 4 inches. We would have liked to have seen more testing, maybe something that was inclusive of that older material, because if the material is different, if it comes from a different supplier, different location, it can have a completely different properties.
Good point. And again, you recognized that during your presentation originally. So you guys did a good job. I really appreciate it. My hat's off to you.
Thank you.
All right, all right. Hey, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to all the schools, all the students who do that. Judges, get your final scores in. Get your final scores in right now. You know, it's exciting. This has been fun. This has been a learning experience for a lot of us. My phone is blowing up over here, so we're trying to get things wrapped up. One of the things we wanted to do before we finished this whole program was go back to TxDOT and ask them what they did. You know, obviously there was an issue on this project, and so we've asked Robert Trevino to come back on and kind of give us a little bit of a summary of, you know, okay, we had an issue, what went forward? What was the solution? What was the solution? And I think many times, you know, there may be more than one solution. And I think it just a lot of times may come down to time or money or whatever. So, Robert, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us what you guys came up with.
Thanks again. I'll quickly go over this, and I appreciate you all looking at this. It was very interesting to see each of you present and look at your approach. Just like you, we do have an approach. We try to get up as much information as we can before we implement the strategy and then conduct our field evaluation. You are all familiar with the details of the location, but the main thing we looked at, just like you did, is the change order. We looked at what was originally proposed, and then we look at what happened next, and we feel that reusing that 7 inches of the existing material could have contributed to some of this problem. The other thing was, once you remove the 7 inches of material, we don't know how much is left. They could have been treating mostly subgrade. Most of you noted that there's some clay down there. We did check the thicknesses of the pavement layers. They all checked out 6 inches of treated material at the bottom, 11 inches of total pavement. But we also noticed what y'all did. The wet ball did not meet specifications. The unconfined strength of the base did not meet specifications. Another thing we noticed is that this average is a result of 3 numbers, and we feel that this might have been an outlier. So if you take the 2 that are closer to each other, the average of the unconfined strength is closer to 24 psi, which is much lower than the 35 required. Similar comments on the mix design. We don't know how much this contributed, but we also noted there's wrap and brass. There's a high recycle binder ratio. We noted that there's an annex strip and agent. We don't know the actual available binder. Moving on, we also looked at the soil maps. We also noted that there's some high PI material, and at this point, lime could have been a better strategy. It was treating mainly subgrade. Looking at the location of the stresses, we used GPR to map those cracks, and as y'all did as well, we went back and looked at the Google Earth images, and we noticed that those cracks were there already. So there's some failures there that were not addressed during construction. So on all those locations where the cracks reflected through the pavement, they were there already. Moving on to the FWD, we also did an overlap of the cracks, and we noticed that there was some weaker base as well as subgrade at those locations. So there were definitely some problems there. And then at the end, our FWD units gives us the GPS coordinates, and we're able to map these for the TxDOT area office for them to evaluate a little further. So again, in summary, those locations showing the stresses had already some stresses before construction. The modulus was low. It appears that the cement treatment was not successful in providing some good support in that subbase. The additional costs is the paving test results of the base. We're using the existing material via change order and the use of wrapper brass and low effect binder. They have been contributing to the failures. We did ask if we could do additional sampling to dig a little deeper into the cause, but at the end, because of time constraints, the contractor and TxDOT partner to come up with 2 solutions. And the 2 solutions were these. First, for the minor cracks that were just in the asphalt layer, contractor to apply the crack seal over them before placing the final lift. And for the ones that were deeper and more severe, the contractor remixed the 2 inches of existing hot mix and treated with cement to reshape back an 11-inch layer, and then they put the 2 inches back, and then the final lift. These are our conclusions. Jim, I turn it over to you.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it. There's always a solution to a problem, and hopefully we don't have problems too often. But we sure are glad that we've done this. Hey, big thanks again to all the schools. It's been a lot of fun on our side. I wanted to introduce the team here at TexAPA who's been driving this whole thing, and here they are. We got Harold Mullen on the left, Chuck Fuller in the middle, and Emily Adams on the right-hand side. We're taking a little bit of liberty with SD distancing right now, just to finish this off and present the final winner. So, guys, take it away.
Jim has been excited to work with the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association Asphalt Rodeo. He's done a great job behind the scenes doing all this wonderful technology work. So, Jim, I just want to say thank you. You've done a tremendous job, and I love the cowboy hat. I know that's the one thing that you wear on a regular basis, but bringing it to the rodeo, oh my goodness, that was just perfect. So thank you for doing that. And TxDOT is such great partners to our entire industry, and certainly when we had the Asphalt Rodeo, they immediately wanted to be a part of this. And so I just want to thank TxDOT, Michael Lee. Y'all have done a great job, big supporters. But Robert Trevino, thank you so much, Robert. You really made this thing happen. You came up with the project. You came up with these issues and have been a judge. Just thank you, Robert, so much. We truly appreciate all your efforts. With that, I just want to thank all the judges too. We had Michael Lee with TxDOT, Robert Trevino, TxDOT, Yanad Mahmood with TxDOT. We had Chuck Fuller, TexAPA, Robert Lee with Texas Materials, Gino Carrier with East Texas Asphalt. So I want to thank all of our judges. Everyone has spent a lot of time on this, and that's when I want to just say thank you to the students. Y'all have done a tremendous job. Y'all are an inspiration to all of us. So we really appreciate the work that y'all did, the time you spent on that. So congratulations to all of our teams. Absolutely. We think all of you are winners. We hate that we just have to pick out one real winner, because all of you are winners in our minds. And so we look forward to helping you and supporting you in the future. Make sure you're applying for that TexAPA scholarship and those type of things. So we want to make sure that you're plugged in. All right. The exciting time is to pick out our third place winner. And the third place winner, Emily, is going to get a $50 gift certificate. Is that what I understand? Correct. From Amazon.com.
For
okay,
each one,
third
each
place
person
gets $50. So coming out of chute number 3. How about that, Jim? Yeah. All right, there we go. Is UTEP number 2. UTEP number 2. Congratulations. They got a score of 93. 93. And this is all based on 100. Is that right? So that's very good. I mean, we're up in the 90s. Terrific job. UTEP number 2. All right. Coming out of chute number 2. Chute number 2. Now we have a $100 gift certificate to Amazon for this, and that will be OU number 1. OU number 1. A 95.2. Awesome. 95.2. So, oh my goodness, the winning team must have just knocked it out of the ballpark here, because 95.2 is really big. So let's look out of here. And coming out of chute number 1, the feature event, the number 1 team that won the Asphalt Rodeo for 2020, OU number 2. Congratulations, OU number 2. Oh, you know what? We do have a check. Each winner, or each, you got that? Okay. Each team member of OU number 2 will win a $1,000 scholarship from the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. So we will say congratulations. Y'all have done a wonderful, wonderful job. And the University of Oklahoma, or Oklahoma University, has won first and second place in the 2020 rodeo. That's quite an accomplishment. UTEP number 2 came in third. So I think UTEP has placed in the top 3 every year. We have at least in the top 3.
Good
So,
job, everybody.
Great job for all those folks. So Dr. Basing, all our TechStop partners, thank all of you for all the work you've done, making this a huge success. And students, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. We admire what you've done, and we appreciate the hard work that you're doing. And we look forward to having you in our asphalt industry in the future. So